Movie lovers and cinephiles around the world, welcome once again to another episode of Andy Takes On. And today, I, Andrew Manyika, your host, am going to be taking on the movie Face Off. This movie is from the turn of the century. In fact, it's one of the best action films to come out of the 20th century, no fucks. And it opens to FBI agent Sean Archer on a merry-go-round with his son. Unbeknownst to him, this day at the theme park is actually playing out in the telescopic lens of his arch-rival Castor Troy's sniper rifle. A rifle from which he fires a shot that both injures Sean and kills his son, and also sets in motion a series of events that turns their rivalry from a strictly professional one into a rather personal one, and that's putting it mildly. So fast forward 6 years, and Sean is finally on the verge of catching Castor. In fact, he does catch him and renders him comatose in the process. But there's a fly in the ointment of his success, and that is that Castor, in his vegetative state, is holding the secret to where he has planted a bomb that's scheduled to level a sizable chunk of LA in 6 days. But that's where things get interesting. You've heard the expression, walk in another man's shoes? Well, there's technology in the world of face-off that allows one man's face to be grafted onto another man's body. So it falls on Sean Archer to go on a covert mission where he literally takes Castor Troy's face off, like it says in the title, infiltrate his squad, and get to the bomb on time. On the good news front, he does get the info on the bomb. Crisis averted. On the bad news front, turns out the act of having your face ripped off is a pretty strong way to rouse someone from a coma. Take that, alarm clocks. And that's right, Castor's up. And seeing as he has no face on his head and Sean's is quite literally lying around, he decides that he's going to take over Sean's body, job, and family. And by that last one, I do mean that he got to know his wife in a most biblical sense. But not before visiting Sean in prison to rub his face in it. Because, anyway, can Sean make it out of prison? If so, how? Will people at the home front realize that Castor, in the role of Sean, isn't quite himself? How deeply entrenched are these people in each other's psyches that the hero and the villain can literally slip into one another's skin and nobody really notices? Looking at the tones and themes of Face Off, all of these elements set up one of the most memorable action movies to come out of the turn of the century. It combines prison escape movie and revenge film in John Woo's hard-hitting action style. Face Off still manages to explore themes of parallelism and duality, and the relationship between the protagonist and the antagonist is the driving force of Face Off. That's called alliteration, kids, just if you're wondering. Now, the idea of the villain as the hero's foil, yin and yang, darkness and light, good and evil, and what happens when one wears the other's shoes or clothes is what really is driving the movie.
The eternal battle between good and evil.
The pacing is a problem, as the plot does tend to plod along a bit in the second act, although the action set pieces make up for it. My favorites being the shootout that plays out to a sultry rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Skies blue. And the two principal characters facing off. It keeps happening and shoot at each other from opposite sides of a two-way mirror. Also, watching John Travolta evoke Nicolas Cage's nouveau shamanic acting style is generally a visual treat. So the characters, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. Aside from the characters of Archer and Troy, every character in this movie really is just a vehicle to move the plot forward. There are no backstories, no character growth, no character arcs, and children under 10 are muted, the henchmen and the federal agents are interchangeable, and there's really no point getting emotionally attached to any of them because they're so devoid of personality that they might as well be walking on set with their faces off. Okay, I'll stop now. When you look at the protagonist and the antagonist, you got Sean Archer, who is a good cop turned failing family man after the trauma of his son's murder devastates his relationship with his wife and remaining daughter. Now, the fact that his wife is falling out of love with him and his daughter's dialed up the teen rebellion to a full-on way of life fades into the background against the obsessive hunt of the man who killed his son. On the flip side, you have Castor Troy, a psychopath whose only soft spot is for his bomb builder and baby brother. He's a domestic terrorist who seems as equally motivated by money as the sadistic side of mass murder. So it's especially interesting to see him adopt the role of husband and father, first with disdain and then with a grudging acceptance.
Lies, distrust, mixed messages. This is turning into a real marriage.
The highlight might be when he lays a major beatdown on his daughter's would-be rapist.
Your son was an accident. I wanted to kill you.
But you took it so personally. Why didn't you just kill yourself or let it go?
That's one of the key pieces of dialogue from Castor Troy's character, and that just shows the psyche that really Nicolas Cage has embodied to be able to play him. Travolta delivers a great turn as Castor in Sean's body, as does Cage in the opposite role, delivering one of the few great dramatic turns of the movie in the form of the backstory of the Archer's first date. My take is simple. I can't even front. I think that John Woo gave Hollywood some of the most thrilling action movies of the 90s. And for me, Face Off is jostling for the pinnacle of that mountain with Mission Impossible 2. Now, this movie is not nearly as confusing as Christopher Nolan, and yet still manages to pose some basic existential questions. Face Off is a 90s film in every sense of the word, and it's one heck of a fun ride. P.S. For best results, you need to watch this one with nostalgia-tinted sunglasses. It won't age superbly well, but in its time, it was a great action gem. So for me, 3 out of 4 stars. That's it for this episode of Andy Takes On, where we took on the movie Face Off. So please do remember to like, let me know what you think about the review in the comments below. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you agree with me emphatically. Don't let it be a secret. But remember, like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so that we can keep on generating more of these for you. Until we meet again, this is me signing out.